Okay, let's talk about stablecoins. You know 'em. They're basically the plumbing of the whole crypto world, right? The bedrock of the digital economy. They're designed to be the one thing you don't have to worry about. But what if that stability is more of an illusion? Today, we're going to peel back the curtain and see what's really holding these things together.
Yeah, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Stablecoins are meant to look boring, to feel simple, just like digital cash. But as we're about to find out, that simplicity can be, well, dangerously deceptive.
So that's really our central question here. What are the actual nuts and bolts? The legal contracts, the money in the bank, the computer code. What's supposed to guarantee that one of these tokens is always worth $1, especially when things start getting chaotic?
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about that simple promise that gets everyone so interested in the first place. So at its core, this is what a stablecoin is supposed to be, right? It's a crypto token that's pegged one-to-one with a currency like the US dollar. The idea is you get all the benefits of a digital asset without those wild, crazy price swings you see everywhere else. And you can't deny how useful they are. I mean, they let you settle transactions almost instantly. They're a great place to park your money between trades. And of course, they're supposed to be a safe harbor when the rest of the market gets choppy. All of this without the headaches and delays of the old-school banking system. And you know what? For the most part, it works, until it doesn't.
So where did the cracks start to appear? Well, it really begins with the companies that are behind these coins. We're now stepping into what you could call the issuer's shadow, the off-chain world of promises and legal agreements.
Okay, now this is a really crucial point. Most of the big stablecoins are run by private companies. So while the token lives on the blockchain, the actual dollars that are supposed to back it, they're sitting in a regular old-world bank account controlled by this one company. Your promise to get your dollar back isn't guaranteed by code. It's guaranteed by a legal agreement with that company. And that, well, that introduces a whole world of risk.
Now, how do we even verify that the money is there? This is where it gets interesting. We hear the word audit all the time, but what most issuers give us are actually called attestations. An attestation is just a snapshot. It's like someone peeking in and saying, yep, on this specific day, at this specific time, the money was there. A full audit, on the other hand, is so much deeper. It looks at their internal controls, how they value their assets. It gives you a much more complete picture of their financial health. And that difference is absolutely critical. And it's not just that they have reserves, it's what's in them that matters so much. Are they holding super safe, easy-to-sell U.S. Treasury bills? Or are they holding something like commercial paper, which is basically just an IOU from a corporation? That stuff carries way more risk and is a lot harder to get rid of in a crisis. See? Not all reserves are created equal.
And this right here, this is the fine print that can have massive consequences. When you hold a stablecoin, you don't actually own a dollar in a bank. What you own is a claim on the company that issued it. And if that company goes bankrupt, you're not at the front of the line to get your money back. Nope. You're what's called an unsecured creditor, which means you're waiting behind pretty much everyone else.
So the real-world legal and financial stuff is a little shaky. But a lot of people think, okay, but the code is the code, right? The smart contract provides the safety. Well, the problem is, even the on-chain world has its own kind of fragility.
So just how decentralized is the code really? Turns out, not very. The smart contracts for these stablecoins often have some powerful centralized tools built right in. We're talking admin keys that can change the rules on a whim, blacklist functions that can freeze your funds without any warning, and even a system-wide pause button. Each one of these is like a backdoor that totally undermines the whole idea of a trustless asset.
Okay, so we've got issuer risk, we've got code risk. Now let's see what happens when you mix them all together and add a nice big dose of market panic.
During a crisis, all these little hidden problems suddenly burst into the open. Confidence starts to wobble, and the price breaks away from that $1 peg. Everyone rushes to cash out at once, and it just overwhelms the system. And then the trouble spreads, because it turns out a lot of these different stablecoins all use the same few banks. But here's the kicker. Not everyone is treated equally in the panic. The big institutions, they can often go straight to the issuer and get their full dollar back. But everyday users, they're stuck, forced to sell on the open market for whatever they can get.
It all sounds pretty daunting, right? I get it. But look, understanding these risks isn't about being scared. It's about being smart. The goal here isn't to just avoid stablecoins altogether, but to use them with a really clear-eyed view of what they are and what they aren't.
And that brings us to the final, and honestly the most important part of our little explainer today. a simple framework for how to navigate this pretty complex landscape.
The whole approach here really comes down to some basic discipline. Just 4 simple steps. First, diversify your holdings. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Second, actually review those reserve reports. See what's really backing your tokens. Third, understand the redemption process. Know if and how you can cash out directly from the issuer. And finally, and this is probably the most important one, plan your exit. Know exactly how you're going to get out of a position before a crisis ever hits.
This slide right here, this is the core takeaway. We need to shift how we think about this stuff. A stablecoin isn't just digital cash. It's a synthetic cash instrument. It's not a simple, safe store of value. It's a complex tool for settlement that has layers of legal, financial, and technical risk that you've got to keep an eye on.
And that really brings us full circle to this final thought. The main danger here isn't that stablecoins are guaranteed to fail. It's the mismatch, the gap between our perception of them as simple, safe cash and their complex, fragile reality. The biggest risk is the difference between what we think they are and what they actually are. And closing that gap, just by understanding it, is really the best defense we have.